Let me ask you a question right up front. Do you know the difference between being merely fluent in English and being truly proficient? It's a fascinating distinction. You see, most people walking into a multinational board meeting think they've got an advanced grasp of the language, right up until they're hit with a C2 level word that literally derails their entire train of thought. So today, I'm stepping in as your personal vocabulary coach. We are going way beyond basic memorization here. Think of this explainer as an escalating vocabulary workshop, a masterclass really, designed to assess exactly where your linguistic ceiling is for those high-stakes executive roles. And then, we're going to give you the tools to break right through it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda. First, the CEFR scale, followed by foundations, A1 and A2. Then intermediate nuance, B1 and B2. Moving into advanced academic, C1. And finally, true native mastery, C2. We'll wrap up by tallying your final score.
But before we begin the actual test, let's establish the ground rules. In linguistics, we use something called the CEFR scale. It's basically the gold standard for measuring language proficiency. It ranges from A1, which is your basic everyday survival English, all the way up to C2, which is effortless academic fluency and absolute mastery of the language. Now, for this workshop, I need you to actively participate. Seriously, grab a pen and paper right now or just open a note on your phone. I want you to mentally track your score across our curated mini-challenges as we go. Start thinking about creating personal flashcards or setting up a spaced repetition schedule for any of the words you miss. Let's see if you can nail a perfect 36 out of 36.
All right, section 1 and 2, foundations, A1 and A2.
Let's do a rapid-fire round just to build some momentum. I'll give you the clue, you lock in the word. Ready? Your mother's or father's sister? Well, that's your aunt. A person with no hair? They're bald. But watch the spelling nuance here. B-A-L-D means no hair, while B-O-L-D, bold, means brave. Definitely don't want to mix those up in a company-wide email. Moving on. The list of food at a restaurant? That's your menu. And note that in British English, you'd politely ask for the bill at the end of the meal, whereas common international or American variations might use check. Finally, if a floor is wet, it's highly what? Slippery, meaning you might take a tumble. Excellent.
Okay, warm-up is officially over. Here is your first boss question mini-challenge to test your precision with basic verbs. Listen to this sentence. I need to blank my phone battery. Do you fill it, load it, or charge it? I'll give you 3 seconds. Lock in your answer.
The correct answer is charge. Now, what's really fascinating about this distinction is how the English language so rigidly compartmentalizes these seemingly identical actions. Think about it. We fill a physical cup with liquid. We load a truck with heavy cargo. But when it comes to electronics and power, we specifically charge them. Nailing these little nuances is the absolute foundation of sounding natural in everyday business conversations.
Moving right along to section 3, intermediate nuance, B1 and B2.
Let's group some intermediate nuances together. First, what's a synonym for someone who flat out refuses to change their mind? Someone's stubborn. The word is obstinate. Now, what is the specific verb for quitting a job? It's resign, which, by the way, is very different from retiring due to age. In formal British business correspondence, you would write, I write to formally tender my resignation. You'd never just say, I am quitting. Next, how about an adjective for uncooked food? It's raw. Just make sure not to confuse this with rotten, which means the food has actively gone bad. And finally, what's a formal synonym for wealthy? Affluent. You wouldn't call a corporate demographic rich in a pitch meeting, right? You'd call them an affluent market.
Time for our B1 boss question. Let's pause for a mini challenge on collocations. A collocation is simply a pair or group of words that are habitually spoken together by native speakers, like saying strong coffee instead of powerful coffee. Using the wrong collocation in an international negotiation instantly signals that you aren't completely fluent. So complete this collocation. I need to blank an appointment with the doctor. Is it do, make, or take? Take a second.
If you guessed make, give yourself a point. In English, we always make an appointment. We don't do them, and we definitely don't take them. Honestly, mastering collocations is a massive milestone in your progress, so validate your score right now. If you're keeping up, you are doing incredibly well.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next B2 concept, the visual nuance between different types of looking. This is a classic trap for learners. A glance is a very quick, fleeting look. You know, you glance at your watch during a meeting. Contrast that with a gaze or a stare, which are prolonged, intense looks. Using stare when you actually meant glance completely changes the tone of a professional interaction.
In executive boardroom etiquette, staring can easily be perceived as an aggressive intimidation tactic, while a glance is just keeping track of time. Let's test your professional vocabulary with the B2 Boss question. Which word describes a person who doesn't take sides? Are they biased, neutral, or involved? Think about workplace conflict resolution for a second. Go ahead and guess.
All right, Section 4, Advanced Academic, C1 level.
The answer to our previous question was neutral, also known as being impartial. Now we're entering C1 territory, where vague, catch-all words just won't cut it anymore. Precision is literally everything here. Take a look at the stark contrast between these two high-level antonyms. To exacerbate means to make a bad situation even worse, but to alleviate means to make a bad situation better. A quick memory hook for you: think of medicine. A doctor's primary goal is to alleviate your pain, not exacerbate your symptoms. If you're managing a PR crisis via formal email, you absolutely want to assure stakeholders that you are taking steps to alleviate the issue, not exacerbate it.
Here is a quick workshop prompt for active recall. I want you to literally think of a sentence using the word mitigate right now. I'll give you a second.
Let's untangle a very confusing C1 nuance. What is the difference between showing no emotion and being careless? Well, if you are apathetic, it means you specifically show no emotion, interest, or concern for a certain topic. Reckless, on the other hand, means you're just generally careless and take uncalculated risks. And then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have meticulous, someone who shows great painstaking attention to detail. I highly suggest you use visual mind maps to group these behavioral adjectives together. It will drastically improve your memory retention.
And now, Section 5, True Native Mastery, C2.
Let's kick this off with a true power word. It's a bit tricky to pronounce, so follow my lead. Obsequious. Obsequious. It basically means overly obedient or submissive. It's someone who tries way too hard to please, exhibiting an almost servant-like obedience. If you have a colleague who agrees with absolutely every single thing the boss says just to win favor, they're being obsequious. And honestly, in British corporate culture, which often values polite understatement, obsequious behavior is generally viewed with high suspicion.
Next up is cacophony. This is a harsh mixture of sounds, a state of auditory confusion. To really cement this definition in your mind, picture a chaotic television news show where 4 pundits are angrily arguing over each other at the exact same time, and literally nobody can be understood. That overlapping, abrasive noise, that's a cacophony.
Now, here is a crucial term for conflict resolution in high-stakes environments: mollify. It means to lessen the anger or anxiety of someone. If a client is absolutely furious about a missed deadline, your primary objective in that meeting or in a formal follow-up email is to mollify them. I want you to also remember its direct synonym here, which is placate. Both are phenomenal C2 vocabulary choices for your professional toolkit.
What about knowledge that is so highly specialized it's only understood by a tiny fraction of people? That is esoteric. If an author writes a book on a highly obscure branch of quantum physics using heavy jargon, that is an esoteric text. So the crucial takeaway here is that esoteric represents deep exclusivity and specialization. It's definitely not for the general public.
All right, this is it, the ultimate C2 boss question to separate the truly proficient from the absolute masters. Complete this sentence. He was an indolent employee who never finished his tasks. Are we looking for indolent, insolent, or indigent? I'll give you a brief 3-second pause to guess the exact high-level term for lazy.
Let's break down exactly why indolent is the right C2 word here. Indolent specifically means lazy or actively avoiding work. It's an incredible word to use. But look at its misleading sound-alikes. Insolent sounds very similar. They both share that in prefix, which often means not or lacking. But insolent actually means lacking respect. It means deeply rude. And indigent? That means extremely poor. By contrasting these sound-alikes and analyzing their prefixes, you solidify your ability to choose the exact, precise word when speaking or writing formally.
And with that, our masterclass assessment is complete. I want you to tally your score right now. Out of the concepts and mini challenges we covered today, how many did you nail? Have you truly achieved C2 mastery, or is there still some room to grow? I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Language is a living, breathing thing, and there's always a higher echelon of nuance to uncover. So have you hit your true linguistic ceiling yet? Or is this just the beginning of your journey toward absolute mastery? To ensure long-term retention of these advanced terms, I challenge you to implement a weekly review plan. Spend just 5 minutes every Friday reviewing those flashcards. Keep practicing, keep applying these words in your formal correspondence, and I'll see you in the next explainer.